Hi.
How you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Oh my
Good.
gosh, finally got over COVID.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you? Looking great. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you. My cat is here. He may be interjecting a bit at some point. I'm gonna say
Oh
hi,
my God.
Hades.
Oh, the baby. Wait,
Yeah.
what's his name?
Hades.
Hades. Perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, awesome. So, do you want to start off by telling me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. My name is Meadow.
Mhm.
I go by they, them. I am a conscious awareness practitioner, I think I'd
Uh-huh.
say.
Okay. I like that.
Um, I I also am under the curanderex realm of just like indigenous healing.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, honey. now my now my puppy's saying hi.
Oh,
um, and something that yeah, that's pretty much like
the
all of it.
service level basics.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
awesome. I
Um,
also, sorry, before we like really get into it, I wanted to just like establish a container that I know that we've previously talked about some things in regard to what we may be talking about today.
mhm.
And I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not going to ask you any questions. Like, I'm not going to bring something up that you haven't already.
Yeah,
So you always have control about what you share, and I'm always going to be asking follow-up questions about what you're sharing.
that's
Um,
perfect. Okay,
cool,
sweet. I love that.
cool,
Hmm.
awesome.
And is it like, can I add on to that container?
Yeah, absolutely,
If something is like a little overwhelming or I need to pause, I'll probably just say, okay, wait, hold on, like give me a moment.
absolutely
Uh,
perfect. Yes.
oh yeah, sweet.
And if at any point I ask a question that you're just like I don't want to answer that, that is perfectly okay too.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, so cool. Okay, sweet. Yeah,
Awesome,
that sounds great. I feel comfortable.
cool. I'm glad to hear
What a lovely container.
it. Awesome, thank you.
Hmm.
So is there something that you want to start off talking about? There's quite a lot that we can cover, so I'll let you
Totally.
be the guide.
Oh my gosh. I am so glad that we had the conversation before because I was like totally preparing for another conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'll start with that I am I identify as Afro-Indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my mother is African American from St. Louis, and my father is Indigenous El Salvadorian.
Okay.
Um, and I spent a lot of my childhood kind of going back and forth from like the United States and El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Huge culture shock. I am now aware that
Okay.
going in between those two cultures, um, yeah, I just had no idea. I had no idea what I was like into as a child. I would be in El Salvador. I was in a country farm type of situation. We lived in like adobe house in the countryside of El Salvador, and
Mm-hmm.
then in St. Louis, I was in just like the city of St. Louis.
Yeah.
um,
Radically
going,
different
yeah,
environments.
totally. So I kind of and like so like with race involved and with different cultures involved, my with my sexuality being like the heck is that? I'm kind of like in the middle of, I felt in the middle of so many things,
Yeah.
that type of thing. Um, yeah. And,
That's a lot to
and
hold
that,
growing up.
yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, like childhood was not that easy for me. Like I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, but there's been like some traumatic experiences that I've gone through
Hmm.
that like long term has affected the way that I perceive um this society, this world, this reality.
Understandable.
Um, I got diagnosed with, I first got diagnosed with like schizophrenia, bipolar, that
Hmm.
type of thing, which later turned into like a person, like a, I didn't, like a person, it's called just dissociative identity disorder,
Yeah.
where like as a kid, I experienced some traumatic events and my uh, developing personality kind of split itself into
Hmm.
different parts, and I kind of kept those parts throughout my life.
Hmm.
Um, and they're called alters, my alters. For a while, I think like my like early 20s, something like that. I'm like 28, so like
Hmm.
uh like in the beginning of my 20s I like was just workaholic. This was before COVID, so things were like busy.
Yeah.
And I kind of like fell into work to the point where I was like exhausted a lot of the time.
Hmm.
I was a bartender, bar manager. Um, I eventually like fell into now I'm done with work, let's go drink. And that was like a
Yeah.
nightly occurrence sometimes. So like alcohol and like alcoholism kind of runs in my family, so it kind of I kind of fell into that to
Yeah.
the point where like my DID kind of influenced the way that I was relating with others, and
Hmm.
it kind of like uh, brought harm to my more intimate relationships,
Yeah.
and they like brought it to me like, hey, this is happening. I wasn't even aware. So
Hmm.
that's when like I started my like healing journey, like my early, like I think I was 23, 24 at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and it was like really hard. Like first thing I thought of was like, let's go get a therapist. But I found that it's really hard to find a therapist um, that deals with dissociative identity disorder. So
Okay.
I worked with somebody for a while
Hmm.
that put me on medication and got me to the point where I was um, like okay, so like the whole thing with the dissociative identity disorder is that you're disassociating,
Right.
and that I was disassociating, and it's kind of like a severe disassociation like state.
Hmm.
And the medication that I was taking was like getting me back into a disassociative state, but more so in a like quiet everything down so that I can just have
Hmm.
a task to do. Um, and that turned out to be working again. So I fell back into work.
Yeah.
Um, and from there, like I had to like figure out how to kind of like just understanding that medication wasn't really for me, or I wasn't like using medication in the way that is going to work for my experience,
Mhm.
you know? So I did a lot of like research for myself
Yeah.
on um, how how people with disassociation deal with this.
Hmm.
And I got into like hypnosis, somatic experiencing,
Hmm.
and things that relate to like a felt sense in my body. And I kind of went with that. That really helps. And that's also where I found like curanderismo,
Hmm.
where um, and that like with understanding what curanderismo is, I found out that it stems from like the Spaniard conquest and how like the Spaniard like Europeans came to the Americas, and it starts with like these people called mestizos, which are the offspring of Spanish and indigenous people,
Yeah.
and the and once the like African cultures came into relationship with like all three of these cultures came together,
Yeah.
like medicine to kind of heal these like psychological problems started developing,
Hmm.
like feeling like an outcast, dealing with internalized oppression,
Hmm.
um, power envy is like a lot of the like curanderismo's like main medicines.
Hmm.
Um, dealing with like when it when I started applying those tools for myself, I
Hmm.
kind of like mended these um, these feelings of like I'm in the middle, I don't really belong, I'm kind of like an outcast of some sort. I went through like my own past. I sat down with like each one of my alters, and they have like a their own memory of certain events, past
Yeah.
events, how things went. So I kind of like went through like a therapy session for my own alters,
Yeah.
and each one was like vastly defining. Change did like experience some massive shifts for myself in figuring out the missing pieces of what this body has gone through.
Hmm.
Um,
It
yeah,
sounds like quite the journey,
it's
and
it's like
it's
quite the journey.
yeah, and it's I'm so impressed, and it's so wonderful that you have been able to kind of walk that journey. I mean, we've kind of just met really, but I just think that you're delightful, and so I'm very grateful for your courage and um, compassion for yourself to be able to get to this point.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
of course.
Yeah. It was really cool. The first client that I got coming back to St. Louis being you. Like
Mhm.
that's so lucky. That's so lucky.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that as well. That's awesome. So it sounds like traditional like therapy methods and traditional models of healing just like didn't work for you, and so you really had to like piece together what was going to work for you, and a lot of that was body work and
Mm-hmm.
somatic work. And
Mm-hmm.
now that's what you're doing. So, can you tell me a bit about the practice that you're now offering to other people?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So um the like something that I've been becoming aware of for myself is that there are, I mean, outside of dissociative identity disorder, there's multiple layers of consciousness
Mm-hmm.
in um, in this experience. And right now, like when in focusing with the body, um, like and this is research from like the Body Keeps the Score talks about this. Oh my goodness. My current mentor, Nancy Chanteau,
Mm-hmm.
Skills for Change, talks about this, where we kind of we intake information in a type of like, from like a huge part of somatic is like we take in information from the amygdala, the reptilian brain,
Mm-hmm.
and we have this set of responses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just want to make sure you're frozen, but can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay,
you've kind of
cool.
your visual has glitched a little bit, but I've been able to hear you crystal clear. So
Ah,
no
sweet.
worries.
Okay, cool. Sweet. Where the amygdala, we have these sets of responses: the fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am I am wanting to bring awareness to those responses in the body, those
Mm-hmm.
sensations that come up for people,
Mm-hmm.
and and kind of connect what it means for that response to go into a more mental space and
Mm-hmm.
slowing down the activation.
Mm-hmm.
And in that slowdown, see if we can shift the way that we're perceiving a.
Can I
Um,
have you pause one moment?
yeah,
Do
totally.
you hear background noise?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let me go talk to them real quick, and I'll be right back.
Cool. Let's see. I think this is fine. Maybe if I.
I love my roommate. Just
Oh
having a
yeah.
moment. All right. Please continue. I'm so sorry for interrupting.
No, that's fine. I don't know what's going on my side, but I can't see it. I think you're just frozen. I'm just
Oh
gonna keep
no.
it going.
Okay.
Um, let's see. I was talking about yes, working with the felt sense of our bodies, and understanding how activation comes up, and also making room for just spaciousness to be acknowledged. Sometimes in like a survival response, there doesn't really seem too many options to choose from, and I'm trying to I would like to make more space or acknowledge more choice.
Yeah.
Um, and right now, like I went through for a while, like talking thing, like doing the somatic, like talking therapy,
Mm-hmm.
where like somebody would lay down and I would take them through their consciousness and go a little bit deeper on what's being felt.
Mm-hmm.
Now I am going with a kind of like touch and talk
Mm-hmm.
practice where where I am. holding like tension patterns in the body, and I want to bring awareness to how tension is forming, and seeing if we can make space for choice around the tension.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So like I don't remember. I don't know if this is like a common experience, but when I was younger, like as a kid, childhood,
Mm-hmm.
things were so much easier. There was times where I would get like riled up from playing or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I would come back and kind of just like lay on the floor and
Mm-hmm.
just like breathe until my breathing became like normal, that type
Mm-hmm.
of thing.
Yeah.
Um, that and like that's like a felt sense that I have had for a really long time, being able to calm myself down and
Mm-hmm.
feeling what it feels like to make that shift from high energy to low energy.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I would like to do that with like other aspects um of energy. It's a lot of like energy work
Yeah.
that I'm working with.
Yeah. And um, you've mentioned a couple other things in our previous conversations that has
Mhm.
informed your touch practice as well. Um, would you care to expand on that if you're open to it?
Yeah, let's see. So, this touch practice is coming from the my current mentor, Nancy
Mm-hmm.
Shanto.
Gotcha.
Um, she's the current lineage bearer for Skills for Change.
Mm-hmm.
This the last, I guess, at the end of summer,
Mm-hmm.
this past August, she did a bodyworks class.
Mm-hmm.
And she is so busy. She does so many classes, it seems like. Um, and this one was specifically on bodywork. And in that class, it was like like 3 weekends in the course of like 3 months. Um, in that class, I started getting into the way that internalized oppression shows up in the body, and the
Mm-hmm.
way that um, like tension can be seen while talking to someone,
Yeah.
and um, a whole bunch. We went through like all the different parts of the body and how to hold and how to sit with someone to kind just like allow them to acknowledge those parts of their bodies, and seeing if there's anything that they want to change about it or shift. Um, and it like I felt it's like a dissolve in
Mm-hmm.
people's body, like a um, once they are acknowledged, it's like like I don't want to keep that, and it just like dissolves in my
Mm-hmm.
hands, in their body,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's a really empowering practice that
Yeah.
I want to continue. Um, I've had a couple people here in St. Louis, and it seems to be, I mean, it's going pretty well.
Good.
Um, I'm using it as a time to connect with the work, see what it means
Mm-hmm.
for not just me, but for people in the like. I'm really focusing on people that are like in the midst of figuring something out, like knowing that something is maybe not working um, or they would like to shift something in some way. I like to bring clarity to what they're going through.
Mhm.
Goodness, I think you're just frozen and I want to see you so
Oh
badly.
no. Um, yeah,
That's okay.
I'm learning technology, and hopefully each iteration will get better.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if there's any way for me to. Is this? Oh no, that's not what we want. Okay. Um,
it's
well,
probably, it could be on my side too. Who knows? But yeah. Um, hmm
yeah.
So
Um,
right now I'm like now that I'm done with COVID, I am opening back up and I do like in person it's usually, yeah, it's all in person. Since I like went through the isolation, I had to do some sessions like over Zoom, which is totally doable, but it's much different like in person with the body and actually feeling um, like the senses, the sensation of shifting a
yeah.
perspective. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have yourself been on a whole trauma healing journey, and now you are walking with other people as they're on their own journeys. Um, Tell me about what your support system looks like and what your like care practices look like.
Mm-hmm. You're saying, did you say the first one is my support system?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have like I went like on the uh, workshop
Mhm.
training that I did in this was in California.
Mhm.
Um, I went with a dear friend, Ripple or
Mhm.
Tom. They go by both, and they're also practicing the same type of modality.
Mhm.
Um, and we kind of like we've been going back and forth. Oh my gosh, that whole trip was like, we became very close on that trip. It was like a 3 month type of, let's dig into what this work means type of
Mhm.
thing. And, and yeah, that's like, that's a huge support for me right now. So when like I just recently
It seems like
changed.
it was 3.5 months. There was a comment that looks like it might be from Ripple.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I think it's
yeah.
me that's like, yeah, I mean it was long.
Mhm.
I think my phone is kind of messing up, maybe.
Yeah.
um yeah, that's probably, I see Ripple.
Mhm.
But yeah, that and also like like during like I just or shifted my relationship with a dear friend of like 10 years.
Mhm.
We were in a pretty close um, relationship, a kind of like monogamous entanglement. And now we're like out of shifting our relationship to something different. And
Mhm.
oh my gosh, they're such a dear friend. We talk about a lot of this stuff. Have talked about a lot of like my internal oppression and my somatic experience and felt sense. Um,
Mhm.
they are also a huge help. And
Good.
they are also like sharing the knowledge that we cultivated in our relationship. So it's like I'm
Mhm.
kind of like slowly building. Hopefully, my goal is to like slowly build this community of people that are in tuned with their body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so it's slowly happening. Um,
What a wonderful community that would be if we can, you
you
know, build
know,
that on a large scale.
yeah, that'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Um,
during my travels, I stopped by a couple of like homesteads. There was a ferry, like there's Radical Ferry. The Radical Ferries have a sanctuary in um, New Mexico,
mhm.
uh, and it was really close to a family. Um, their homestead was named Haven, and like seeing the way that people can come together and work together in something different from a society like what's in the city
Yeah,
was pretty inspiring. And I am looking for that type of connection,
yeah.
um, that type of community,
Mm-hmm.
like here. I know that it's here. I know that it is. It's just with COVID, it's like hard to connect. It's a
Yeah.
whole nother it's a whole nother thing
Yeah.
in St. Louis. In Nevada City, there was like one like it was very people were like spread out, more spread out. It's not really COVID's not really an issue in the desert. Like I'm sure it is, but it's like a little bit, it's really distant.
Right.
um, but yeah, having like a community like that where we can bring up like hard feelings
And
and
navigate
talk them
conflict.
out. Mm,
That's something I've been
um,
chewing on lately is like navigating conflict in a heartfelt way. Um,
mm-hmm.
and that seems like something that is difficult to do on a community level sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
just having more body awareness um, on an individual level. My hope, at least, is that that would move us in a better direction. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's like on the same trip. I also like got I finished a course with Nancy, the same my mentor, on cooperative communication, which was
Yeah.
like mind blowing. I
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, okay, for sure. The she went through like she went through so much, but
Mm-hmm.
it started with like how to clear a story, um, knowing how to like separate what are observable facts, what's your feelings, and what is your like story about why something happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, went through like what's true, what's not true, what's also true, all of these like it's like kind of jargony right now, but it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of putting together a like big picture story, um, and moving through conflict in a like structured way that is spacious. Um, yeah, and like power analysis, like what are the different powers in a dynamic?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and trust analysis, like how much do you trust this person to do something, or
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing that that is like was a game changer for me is identifying like rescue um, in a relationship. There's
Mm-hmm.
like this rescue triangle where you can perform a rescue and then feel like burnout from doing the rescue.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into like a victim state
Mm-hmm.
of I did this and like now like and still things haven't really changed or um like it's a place where you kind of like share what your wants are and then you go like because you're like in victim or moving out of victim you kind of go into like a rebellion phase um where like you start prosecuting either internally or externally.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you can feel guilty and go back into a rescue, and it just goes around and around and around. That is something that I've been doing for like a lot of my life. I'm just
Yeah.
doing a lot of rescuing
Mm-hmm.
um, and being able to like identify all of the stages in what comes after rescue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I like like certain transactions just changed
Mm-hmm.
and knowing what I wanted, what I didn't want to be doing, what I
Mm-hmm.
did do want to be doing in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
brought got yeah brought more like spaciousness in my like in my life.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I just thought that rescuing was just like rescue was like my default for a while and then
We'll call out with that one too.
yeah.
I
Yeah, wait,
imagine
what did
folks that go into like caring fields probably all feel that a little bit.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I growing up, I have a brother,
Mm-hmm.
awesome guy. We were very close, and he has cerebral palsies.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a lot of messages from like my family, my school, um, like the doctors. That we went to see for like therapy, physical therapy, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, I was like Marcos's guardian angel,
Mm-hmm.
or Marcos is my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I need to be there for him. I need to, and this is like broader, like it was like for my whole family. Like I needed to be there for my family. I needed to do things that I didn't even really want to do, but I just have to do it because it's family.
Yeah.
And I like I lived by that. Like, yeah, it's like I don't care about sometimes it's like I don't care about my own needs. I just let me just do this because it's like my job or something.
Yeah.
And then later when I find out that I'm like depleted to uh, to no end, um, and I'm starting to get mad at myself or at others for like putting that messaging on me or something like that. I started to change the way I was relating to a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and I I can say this about my family. Uh, this is like I think it, and I don't know. I'm not gonna say that this is like a. Um, I've just noticed that it was very strong in my Latino family, my
Mm-hmm.
Latinx family, and and I saw it in like other families that had very similar dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's like a
as in like I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly that like the children were carrying a lot of burdens for the family.
Um, oh my gosh. So like the nearest example that I have right now, because I just recently saw it with like with my cousin with my family, was in like the new movie Disney movie Encanto.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I've been seeing that a lot on TikTok.
oh my, say it again.
I've been seeing like I've been seeing a lot of talk about that on TikTok.
Yeah, yeah. So like I saw that movie and I was like, this is like too it's too real. The
Yeah.
grandma is like putting all of these expectations and obligations onto all the family members, and the family members like, need to fall in line to for the betterment of the family, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just like just to, you know, make grandma happy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that I saw that movie and I was like, whoa, okay, I need to rethink some things.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it happens more commonly
Mm-hmm.
than we think.
Mm-hmm.
And it stays in, like it definitely stayed in me outside of my family. It
Mm-hmm.
seeped into my relationship, my relationships, and my work, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, getting out of that was uh, necessary, I think,
I hear you.
for me
Yeah.
to like change my perspective on
Mm-hmm.
what my life is.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge.
Yeah. Um, do you have any advice for someone who might be starting that journey? If that question makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Um, this is something that came up in a book club, the book club earlier. Um, it was called, they named it as compassionate curiosity. Having
Mm-hmm.
compassionate curiosity for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and kind of pushing or just like acknowledging your boundaries and
Mm-hmm.
what feels good for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then going deeper
Mm-hmm.
and doing some exploring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did this alone, and I got really far. I got even further with someone that I trust
Mm-hmm.
deeply. Um, I think community is really helpful. The support is really helpful.
Yeah.
Um, Finding a practice that goes deep in the felt sense of your body
Mm-hmm.
and doing it with somebody. Um, I think I think the benefits that come from that are huge.
Yeah. Um, it looks like Ripple asked the question, what are alternatives to rescue? I don't know if compassionate curiosity fits into that, but I'd love to hear you talk more about that.
Did you said the alternatives to rescue?
Yeah.
Yeah, alternatives to rescue. Something huge is like you got like for me, I had to know what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like acknowledging what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
the rescues, the victimization that's happening internally,
Mm-hmm.
the prosecution that is happening externally, internally.
Mm-hmm.
There's like an energy that comes from that you can either like fall back into the cycle, or you can do something about it. That's something that you don't want to do. You can go into again a good way to, or a spacious way to think about that is like, what's something that you want? How do you want things to change?
Mhm.
Um, that can be hard.
Mhm.
Figuring out what I wanted was kind of hard for me.
Yeah.
I had to do it really slowly.
Mhm.
Figure out I started with what feels like not that great for me. I don't really want this for my life.
Mhm.
Let's see, what do I want?
Mhm.
And then seeing like if there was like a alternative or a other that I could turn to that would feel a lot better.
Mhm.
Um, and then keeping that.
Mhm.
Uh, oh my gosh, I hear the baby.
Mhm. He's decided
And
it's time. Anyway, keep talking. Sorry.
yeah. No, no, no. And practicing what feels good
Mhm.
over and over to the point where it's like a just something um, that just happens.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and that can be hard having like um, uh, I think having my support system to like bounce things off of and saying, hey, like I kind of wanted to change. I want to like do this for a second. Can we try this?
Mhm.
Um, and then doing that for a couple weeks. Yeah, that's not working. Let's try it. Like, let's tweak it a little bit.
Mhm.
And then like, yeah, this feels good. It's like takes a while to get what you want to like, or figure out what you want
Mhm.
sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so like having that compassionate curiosity and patience for sure with yourself, with others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely with myself. Like I had to have a lot of patience with myself
Yeah.
to just listen to my body. Something that right now that I'm having, oh my gosh, this phone. You mentioned TikTok.
Oh yeah.
I'm like diving into TikTok sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, and I like that's a way that I disassociate sometimes.
Relatable.
And
Yeah.
hmm and sometimes like I have to like force myself to turn it off and just like listen to my body. And sometimes that just is like laying in my bed and seeing what comes up. If there's any images or stories or um, yeah, playing around with this vessel that
Mhm.
I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like sometimes I have to like just like stand in the middle of my room and be like, okay, what are we feeling? What do we need right
Hmm.
now? Because
Oh my
you know
gosh,
I
it's great.
also have spent a lot of my life like being told your needs don't matter, or just like that thing that you say you want, you don't want that. And
Hmm.
so undoing that is a lifelong process. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I
hear.
do want to be conscious of both of our time. We have about 10 more minutes until we've hit an hour. So, um, is there any other topics that you would like to talk about, um, that you want to be able to have 10 minutes to like expand upon, or anything you want to talk about?
Let's see. Yeah. If you're interested in any of this work, um, feel free to contact me.
Yes.
You can direct message me on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, Facebook. Um, let's see. I am like really interested in this community building, so look out for any type of groups to be, that
Yeah,
you would want to join, because even this one, the um, Triangle Wellness, is
yeah.
like so cool. I
Thank
love that you're
you,
doing it.
thank you. I'm
Um,
trying. It's a work in progress.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're doing it. I think it's hard work to create a community, but practice and like
Mhm.
engagement. I'm so interested in what it's all about.
Thank you.
Also, my mentor is still uh, like doing classes.
Mhm.
So Nancy Chanteau, Skills for Change.
I'm
Um,
interested in that myself. I'm trying to save up for one day being able to take that for myself. So,
yeah,
yeah,
it's great. It's really good. It's broadened my perspective on a lot. That's for sure.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
cool. And I just wanted to briefly mention to anybody that's come in the middle of this or had to leave and come back, I am going to have the recording of this on my Patreon, and I'm going to be posting like a few clips here and there on the page and on our TikTok and stuff. So feel free to join there. We are about $6 away from having all of our expenses covered monthly, so doing pretty
Yes,
well. Yeah. So
that's
I'm really
amazing.
excited about that. So things are looking up.
Shoot, I'm so like I really want to see your face, but I have a really nice frozen image of you.
I hopefully I'm like smiling and not just like sticking my tongue out and like one eye's blinking or something. Um,
Yeah.
well, I mean, since it's recording on my end, hopefully the recording takes well enough. We'll see. Um, but yeah,
That's
awesome.
awesome.
And I will probably be booking another session with you very soon. Now that you're
Oh,
out of quarantine.
sweet. Oh my gosh, I'd love that. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being you.
Thank you. Thank you for being you. Awesome. Well, it has been just an
Um,
absolute joy and pleasure. If you have any other thoughts, please feel free to share.
let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Cool.
Um, we were almost at the end. Are you interested in doing like a um, grounding exercise or
I would love that. Yeah.
something like that? Sweet. All right, cool. So this one is something that I have had for a while, um, and it just recently came up in this book club that I'm in. We're reading Deep Liberation by Langston Kane. It's has a lot to do with um,
I'll have to
somatic
check that out.
experience. Say it again.
I'll have to check that book out.
Yeah, it's good. It's yeah, it's good.
Awesome.
It's another thinker. I'm doing a lot of perspective shifts.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts with take a moment to close your eyes and take a couple of deep, intentional breaths. And begin to notice your crown and how it feels in this moment. Then you take a moment to lower that awareness down to your brows and take a deep breath. And now move it down to your throat and take a deep breath. And notice your chest and your heart. And take a deep breath. Move it down to your solar plexus, your abdomen, and take a deep breath. And now kind of move that consciousness down your thighs, into your calves, down into your heels, and feel the floor and where your feet are touching or making contact with the floor. Take a deep breath. And then slowly come back into the space. Think I don't want to like go into it was like I realized that I was closing my eyes and I didn't want to like go over time.
You're fine. You're
But
fine.
that's like the beginning.
Yeah.
That's just like feeling out, going, taking time
Mhm.
to notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like something that you can do wherever you want.
Mhm.
How like whenever you want.
Mhm. Yeah. And you don't necessarily have to like close your eyes or like, it can be something that um, can be done like internally. Like if you're like worried about people looking at you or something. I know I've like
Yeah.
used a lot of grounding exercises like that when I was working at Starbucks, which was super necessary working there.
Yes, definitely.
But
There's so many
mhm,
practices.
mhm,
And I'm like interested in like they're just tools that I
yeah,
can use.
absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Meadow. It's been an absolute joy
Yeah,
and
thank
honor.
you.
We'll have to have you come chat with us again sometime because I know we have so much more to talk about. And I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
All
All
right.
right. See ya.